Do you want to improve at a quicker pace? Check out GitGUDRacing.com. I've coached hundreds of drivers, from real-life racers to sim enthusiasts, who experience rapid improvement after just one session. And while investing in top-notch hardware is great, imagine how much more you can elevate your experience by adding coaching to the mix. My methods are practical, aiming to break down complex concepts into easily digestible bits that are simple to understand. You can find reviews of the sessions I've conducted on the Fiverr link provided in the video description. Let's elevate your racing skills together. Now for the track guide. For turn 1, what you want to do is to align yourself with this kink on the right side. So whenever you're getting into the entry and you're coming into this corner, you don't want to align with this wall right here. You want to go a bit more forward, and then you will see this part where the track widens up a bit. So you want to go to this part of the track, align yourself, and then whenever you're turning, you want to be as close as you can to this wall right here, not the wall from this part, this one. Because at this point, you're not using all the track. So we're going to this kink, and then we're gonna brake. Don't brake very heavy, it's more like a long trail braking zone. Downshifting to fourth, and then trying to apex as late as we can. We have this orange cone on the wall right here. We plan to apex at the orange cone. So this is gonna be our apex reference. And at this point, we're gonna put the power down. In my case, I was a bit later on the power, so I was on the power here. You should be on power at the cone. That cone is exactly the middle of this corner. This is a very long corner. And if you will spectate it with another camera, for example, the chopper camera, you will see that the cone is perfectly aligned in the middle of the corner. So this is gonna be the apex point, the point in which you're gonna go back on power. If you're gonna be slightly late, you will lose a bit on the exit. If you're gonna be slightly early, you will run out of track, and then you will have to do some corrections on the throttle. But very important, long trail braking here, so hold the brakes longer into the lower percentages. Don't slam the brakes, don't brake 80% and then drop the brakes and then go on throttle. This won't work in this corner. You just want to have more grip on the front tires to make the car point, and then you'll be able to go on power. And whenever you're putting the power down, you see, like, it's like a vertical line. It's not like we're feathering the throttle or we're doing a lot of correction. No, it's straight up and maintaining it, using all the track here. And for this corner, this section is quite tricky, very easy to mess up here. The braking reference is the second cone. Slightly before it, I'm applying the brakes. You don't want to brake very hard here, so 80% is gonna be enough into this corner. And very, very important, it's important to brake in a straight line. So right now, as you can see on the steering wheel, I'm keeping the steering wheel straight. And you will want to delay your turning point as much as possible, so you will maximize the efficiency under braking. The car will brake in the most efficient way whenever you keep the steering wheel straight. When you have a bit of turning, you will brake less efficiently. So keeping the steering wheel straight, and very late I am apexing and I'm turning the steering wheel. And look at, I'm not using this blue curb, just a bit on the exit. But if you're gonna meet that curb early on entry, you will have a lot of trouble into this corner. So the goal is to follow this white and blue curb without touching it. Barely touch it on the exit, like right here, but not before. Because otherwise the car will just have the tendency to go wider on the exit, so it will bounce back here. And if your car arrives very close to this curb, then this corner is now gonna be difficult. You won't be able to keep it flat or almost 100%, doing a small lift here. But if you will have the car position wrong, you will do a full lift for this corner. So keep that in mind. Now this corner is the exact same philosophy, but because it's a long straight afterwards, we have to be even more careful at preparing it. So using all the track on entry, I'm using this curb, the blue and white, as a reference, I want to use it on entry, and as soon as I not see it anymore, I'm applying the brakes and I try to go almost in the middle of the track and then cut, so I'm not turning it very sharply yet. I balance the car with the brakes and then I turn and I apex. So, few things to notice here. The braking. We don't need to brake a lot, but we need to maintain this 2%, 3-5% braking to make the car rotate. That's gonna be key. The second thing is that you don't want to trail brake more than this. If you're gonna trail brake in the 30%, 25, it's gonna be too much and the car will understeer because of the fronts being overused. The third thing is the point in which you're going back on throttle, because if you're gonna apex this curb, so if you're gonna use a lot of this curb, you won't be able to go back on power early. So the goal is to follow this curb very closely, but not go on top of it. Then you'll be able to put the power down, you'll use all the track, and you will gain on this straight. This is a huge straight, so very important to get it right. For the hairpin now, the braking marker for me are these cones right here. I brake slightly before them, but I think I'm cooking the tires under braking because I'm braking to 100%. So I will advise, I didn't have much time to do laps here. I did like 50 minutes of laps, like 5 laps. But if you want to properly prepare this corner, I think the real braking point should be here, like the first cones, and not braking to 100%, braking more to 80 and then carry the speed. However, if you're gonna brake a bit later, you can still go to 100%, it won't be the end of the world. Now, going into this corner, you want to cut a lot this curb with the trail brake, and then whenever you put the power down, to cut here as well, because you can get away with getting very close to that sand without getting an off track. So that's gonna be key again. We're moving now to a different type of section. The next two corners are again very similar one to each other. So this one right here, braking point, the third cone right here, very important here, in second gear to apex late and just kiss this curb just a bit, and you can get away with having the car on the left because it will be easy to cut this curb. So the line will be like carry more speed and then cut this curb right here. The car will be a bit unsettled when you land. I found that if you try to give it third gear instead of skipping it in second gear, it can balance the car, but it all depends on how much you cut and how you land whenever you're making contact again with the tarmac. So you're gonna have two approaches. If you're gently going over that curb, you can keep second gear, but if you cut a bit too much and the car will be unstable, upshift to third. Even though you won't have full RPMs for third, just because the rears won't slide, you will gain a bit of time. So this is gonna be second or third gear, depending, on the exit, depending on how well you cut the curb. Right now I'm keeping second for more time, and now I'm going to third, but you can go to third a bit quicker, like I explained, and in some cases you will gain a bit. For this corner, braking reference is the second cone. Very important here, I think you can gain a bit of time by just not going the longer distance. So right now you see, I'm not going all the way to the left to prepare it, I'm going diagonally. So instead of going like this, like where I point my mouse and then brake at the second cone, you can go diagonally and then arrive at this position and brake. You will travel a longer distance and it will be a bit quicker. Now, under braking, I want to use this curb to open up. Don't brake very hard, but very important here to put the power down in the middle of this curb lap, so right here. I was a bit lazy with putting the power down this lap, and I will lose a bit of time because I was up 5.4 and now I'm losing a bit on the exit just because this correction under throttle. So what you want to have is an on-off switch under the throttle pedal. Whenever you go on throttle, you stay on throttle. If you will have to do this dip, it means that you carried a bit too much speed into the corner or you turned a bit too early. So it's key to have a late apex in this corner and the previous one as well, to apex as late as you can to this curb, almost in the middle, and when you're at the curb to press the throttle. The throttle should be pushed whenever you're at the curb. If you're not able to do it, it was the braking or the turning. So keep this in mind because you can gain or lose a lot of time. In my case, I think I lose here 1/10, even more. No, it's 1/10. 1/10 lost because of a small mistake, so it can quickly add up. Now going into this corner, the braking reference is after the third cone. I'm applying the brakes, and you're gonna spike the brake a bit harder because the action in this corner happens very quickly. You don't have a lot of time, so you want to stop the car as soon as you can. Then with the trail brake you want to mount this curb, so you want to cut as much as you can here, because ideally you want to be close to 100% throttle here. So this is the exit that matters. You want to keep 100% throttle in this phase. If you're not able to do it, then you didn't brake hard enough, or you didn't cut as much as you could in this curve. So again, this is gonna be key. Cut here a lot, even a bit more, just a bit more, but be mindful that if you're gonna put the right tires on the right side of the curve, the car will be unbalanced. So you don't want to cut to the extreme to have this curve in the middle of the car, but you want to cut as much as you can though. Now, the same story here. You want to cut a bit and then throw the car to this part of the tarmac, then pressing the brakes, downshifting to second, and very late apex using this curve. You can even cut more than what I did here. So I think I lost here 1/10, maybe 2/10. You can cut a bit more than this and use all the exit. And for the last corner, this is gonna be quite easy with this car. I find that the fixed setup and the setup for this car is very safe. So you can carry a lot of speed. I'm using the second cone as a reference for braking, but you can even brake later, close to first. I'm doing it here very cautiously so I can finish the lap for the track guide. But if you would push a bit more, you will put the braking reference very close to this cone or this white line, because the car will handle it. So you can brake a bit later. I'm using now this line right here as a reference, this white line. I want to have this white line in the middle of the car, more or less. Then I'm gonna trail brake, still trail braking. I'm looking now at this part on the right side. I'm looking at this place where the yellow gold line, this one, is finished, and now this one begins, because I want to be very close to this. Again, the white, the yellow and the gold line are meeting. I want to have the tire very close to it, so still trailing. And then again, I'm looking at the gold line right here. I want to cut it. So very long trail braking zone, low braking initially. You can carry a bit more speed on entry. That's gonna be fine. You will gain, I think, 2/10 more on entry if you will have the car more on the limit. But in short, that's a track guide for Sebring with the Ferrari fixed. I hope you have a great week ahead, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.